I used a lot of dye. I probably used too much dye, but hey, sometimes you just really want things to work because you really want to win. Can say that about a lot of things in life right now.
Please stand by.
Well, hello there. I'm Amy and welcome back to another video where we are in October, so that means we're doing spooky crafts, more or less. Last week we did a candy corn theme and it went okay.
And I'm kind of predicting that it all might be slightly orange, really light orange, really yellow orange, and just orange.
I'm hoping that this week we'll get a little bit more of a win. But because we tried candy corn, I'm like, well, we can still do candy corn and see if it turns out better. No, we're not gonna go to my kitchen. We're not going to do anything else with food. Instead, I had an idea. So throughout spring and summer, while everyone was stuck inside, people have been tie-dyeing things like crazy. I never really got into tie-dye throughout pretty much any time in my life, but I did think there was a way to spookify some tie-dye. I've seen a lot of the black bleach tie-dye where you take something that's black and you use bleach to dye different fabrics, and it turns out usually a bit orange or red, and it looks kind of cool, it looks kind of Halloween-y. And I was like, what if we did something like that and tried to, make it more on theme? And since I am a try-hard, I thought, why not do 2 hoodies? So we started with some basic hoodies. They are just affordable Hanes hoodies. I wanted to try something very specific. I had visions in my brain to try. I want to turn the white one into a candy corn hoodie. I'm a big fan of those sweaters with like decals on the arms, though that's not what I'm wearing right now, obviously. But I wondered what would happen if we took like a white hoodie, cropped it, because I have to crop everything. It looks more flattering. But we take a white hoodie, crop it, and dye the sleeves to be candy corn colors so that the white of the actual hoodie is our white part of the candy corn. So we would end up with some yellow cuffs and some orange up top. And I thought it would just look really cute, really on theme for Halloween. And it's not often that you get to see like really bright colors represent Halloween. Like you get a lot of pumpkin orange sweaters, but I don't see a lot of like whites for Halloween that aren't just like ghost decals. So I wanted to try just making a cute spooky option. Then I was like, what's the opposite of cute spooky? Well, let's try to make a pumpkin bleach tie-dye black sweater. Welcome to the floor of my living room. So we are vlogging partly on my phone, partly on this second camera, and we are going to come here to my floor to try to bleach and tie-dye. We're gonna start with the bleach one first and wash that. And while that one's washing, we will then do our candy cane sweater. Hopefully this turns out well. If it doesn't, well, you're gonna see that too, as we've learned with previous videos. And now that a hoodie is slightly damp, we're going to wrap it and then saran wrap the part that we don't want to get fully dyed, I think. This made sense in my brain, okay? I thought, let's pull out the front center that I want to put the face on and cover that with saran wrap so that I could keep clean the space that I wanted to put the face part on. That way, when I do the scrunch method, which is taking all of your fabrics and just kind of scrunching them together in like clumps and use the bleach to bleach different patterns, I could still get that random pattern where you get big patches of bleach and small patches, big patches of black, splatters, all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't get that clean section if I didn't section it off. So my thought was, section that off, do the fun bleachy stuff. This one was the big step process. You keep the bleach on it and then you wash it because you're supposed to rinse out all the bleach and then wash it. We have our little saran ball, and so this should hopefully protect the front from being too bleached, and we should still get some of the zigzaggy pattern going up in there. So we're going to scrunch, I think. We're not looking for a spiral, so we're going to scrunch the rest of it into little sections and then use our bleach. We are also going to need our 1-to-1 cup of bleach and water in a squeezy bottle. Ooh. So we have some color changing. We'll see what happens. It's gonna sit for a while and we'll come back to it. The bleach one's sitting. We're going to wait till we're rinsing it and washing it, and then we will work on the candy corn one and see if that one turns out how I picture it in my head also. And then we will come back around to do the pumpkin face. I have a backup plan for if this pumpkin face, the first try, doesn't turn out exactly how I want it. And if it doesn't, we will try something else. I do have a backup plan. My thought was if I tied off and like sectioned out most of the other part of the sweater so that I could just play with the sleeves, then I would get that kind of crisp separation that I wanted to try. So with the candy corn, it felt like normal tie-dye, but you probably would get something crisper if you just dyed it. But I did the wet method, so it allowed a little bit of spread, a little bit of color, mix-ins. It's pre-washed. Now we need to wrap up the middle and cover it in saran wrap so it doesn't get contaminated by the rest of the colors. And then we will dye the sleeves. We have it marked off where we want like the yellow to go and the orange to go, and then where we want those color sections to end and it just to go to white. Let's see if we can do this. I used a lot of dye. I probably used too much dye. So this is how the tie-dye shirt looks so far with the bleach, and I'm not too happy with it. So what I think I'm gonna do is I'm gonna wash it, see how it comes out, and then we might try my backup plan with this so we don't have a full lose, and see how it goes. So I did that, and I ended up with the circle effect I was pretty much looking for. So this does look really pretty, and it's very gray and orange, so not as much just orange. So I'm not sure if I want to keep it like this with just the gray splotches and this giant splotch on the back. I'm gonna do the face on this front section. I'm gonna do the face, and then if I like it spooky, like with the gray and everything, after I wash and do that part, then I use some white charcoal to trace the face that I wanted on this sweater there, and started to paint in with a paintbrush all of the bleach. Okay, so we drew it on with our handy dandy white charcoal. I'm going to get one of my cheap paintbrushes that I'm okay with ruining and start painting in this. And do not forget that piece of cardboard. This piece of cardboard will save your face and the back of your sweater from looking like it also has a face. So hopefully this comes out when I wash it. Fingers crossed. But I think this means we will end up doing the secondary option. So I'm gonna let this sit for a little bit longer and then we will wash it and come back. This was again a wet method, so it's a spread, so it's more of an abstract jack-o'-lantern pumpkin face. But I think it's kind of cool. It feels kind of like sinister, I think, and so I am excited with actually how it turned out. I wasn't expecting to, and I was a little like nervous, but once I rinsed out the bleach and ran it through the wash again, I'm pretty happy with how the face turned out. But then I ended up with a hoodie that was more black and gray with a little bit of orangey red on the outsides of the bleach stains, and that wasn't what I wanted. Okay, so I think we're gonna go with plan 2, which is dye orange so that it feels more pumpkin-y. Because right now, it's just a little spooky. You can see a little bit of a face, so we want to make that face stand out more. Wish me luck. Our plan B was to take the leftover orange dye and some yellow dye, so the leftover yellow dye. So basically the same colors we just used on our candy corn sweater that didn't need this much explanation, to use that, and I was gonna dye the face yellow or like yellowy orange to give it a little bit more definition, and then use my excess orange dye to dye all of the bleach spots orange. That way it would still feel a little bit more spooky, and it's very subtle, but I think it would work. And now that it's all come together, here is the before. The before? Here is the before and after. Woo! Wasn't that fun? So, what did I learn? I probably could have separated the whites if I wanted them to be crisper, further like sectioned off to keep it from spreading the orange or the yellow to the rest of the hoodie. I know there is a dry method for tie-dye, so I wonder if the dry methods for tie-dye would have given me slightly cleaner colors. but I am really happy with how that one turned out. I think it looks cute. I think it looks pretty much like what I saw in my head, which was just like candy corn arms. Who doesn't want candy corn arms? There was a little bit more color mixing than I expected, but overall, happy. I would give that an 8.5 out of 10 as a first attempt at tie-dye. The other one, I guess from what the research that I looked up told me, it depends on what kind of fabric, the kind of bleach effect you'll get. So whatever the mix of this black hoodie was less of the orange bleach and more of just stripping the color and going straight to gray, which is fine. And I did like how that looked in general, so I would probably do that to a sweater like that if I didn't have an end game in mind and just wanted like cool, subtle tie-dye sweater. But since I wanted it to be Halloween themed and I wanted it to be like jack-o'-lantern kind of themed, I think dyeing it was the right option. I think you have to let that dye sit there a lot on this fabric and just really let it sink in and use a lot of dye, more than you think, because you don't want to end up with like a muted gray orange. I'm back and forth about whether or not I like the yellow face. I think I do. If I don't, I probably will just tie-dye over it, either orange, maybe some red, who knows. But overall, I think I'm happy with this. It became a little bit more abstract than I expected, but I think that's kind of cool. And I feel like this kind of hoodie, you would pay like $40, $45 for at a Spirit Halloween, or like, I don't know, one of those fancier stores that has a Halloween line that's trendy. I feel like that's what you would find the black hoodie in, whereas the candy corn hoodie is like what you find at Walmart and Target. I'm fine with all that. So that black hoodie, I would give an overall 7.58 out of 10, I think, for like a first attempt at doing that. I think I would need to research what hoodie fabrics dye that orange color better, but overall, I like how it turned out. I think these are both wins, and I think it went better than my candy corn candle, which if you haven't seen, you can watch right here or here. One of these places has an iCard. If you guys decide to make one of these sweaters or try your hand at doing your own spooky tie-dye bleach design, please tag me on Instagram or Twitter. I am at Amariebythesea everywhere on the internet, including here. I would love to see what you come up with. See if you are a tie-dye expert. What did you do? What did I do wrong? I don't know. I think I did okay. I think I can do better next time. If you would like to see it next time, let me know that in the comments below. And thank you for watching. I hope you are enjoying this spooky themed month of stuff. Next week is a very, very big project, and I'm hoping it turns out okay. I am in the midst of it right now, so fingers crossed. As always, I have been Amy. You have been wonderful, and I will see you in my next video. Stay magic. Bye. Isn't she lovely? Aren't they wonderful?